Hey everybody, I am back with a craft video that I did for a friend for her birthday, and I actually had gotten the pendant, which you'll see at the end of the video, from another friend of mine at a Renaissance fair about a year ago when they went, and they had picked it out for me, and I love it. I wear it all the time. And then I ended up getting this amazing putty, mold putty, and it's really great stuff when you want to make a mold of something for crafting, like you see here for the turtle. I had put the turtle pendant into the putty and molded it in there, and you'll see later on after I get through all this I'm explaining like what tools to use, what you'll need for the project. I didn't put that chain in, but the chain I got from Michael's from Hobby Lobby. Michael's or Hobby Lobby. It's been a while, so I don't really remember. You'll need a jump ring, a lobster claw, chain, glue, pretty much everything I stated in here. Blending tools, cutters. I didn't have a big long cutter, which I didn't really need. So I just used an X-Acto knife, which will work as well. You will need a veil, as I'm saying right now, and blue and green clay. I'm using Sculpey. I find Sculpey is really good clay for molding and blending, and it doesn't harden right away, even after you leave it alone for a couple days. Though when I first got this clay, it was brand new, so it was very hard to get the shape of the turtle right in the mold. So that was the only difficulty I had in this part, which I like cut way down. I think in the first part of the video, it's like a 20-minute video of me just molding and blending and molding and, and I'm like, I don't think they're gonna want to watch me mold and blend for 20 minutes on top of a 20-minute video and make it like an hour video. So I really had to cut all that out, and you'll see the finished project here in this video. Under 20 minutes, not a whole hour, which was really good. But yeah, I had a hard, soft clay is sometimes harder to work with than when it's a little bit firm. So make sure, maybe I would suggest to set it out overnight for a little bit, or for part of the day after you open the package, if you notice that it's really, really soft. And normally when you buy it right away, it'll be fresh and normally really, really good to work with. But in this case, it was a little too soft, so that's why I was getting frustrated with the mold. And it may look like my hands are shaking in this video, but I have it on, I think second time faster than the actual video. So it's actually almost the same time as the video, pretty much, and there wasn't much change in the speed. But there's a lot of shaking with my table because I'm using a coffee table. I'm not using like a professional craft table while I'm making this. And I decided to put a mat down to make it look brighter, and so that way you can see what I'm doing better with the molding. And mind you, I still had a hard time with that. And I think we're going into excuse me, I had root beer. I think it'll show, yeah, I was using I tried to use the X-Acto knife on rolling it out over the clay, just to add a little bit more pressure than my hand. I normally use a roller, and I could not for the life of me find my roller, and I had like 2 rollers, and I have no idea where any of them were before I made this video, so I did not use any of my rollers. And I think that was part of the problem. I didn't have enough pressure to place in mold for the actual like design to pop out when the turtle came out of the mold. So you'll see I did have trouble with that, not having it exactly the way I wanted it. I did end up later on once I start cutting it out here, I also start using the blending tool, and I smooth out the rough edges around it just to make it look more detailed and firm on that part, because it was, like I said, it was really fresh clay, and it can be really good to work with and not so good to work with. And I just, like I said, I had a hard time with this clay with cutting it out too, without fearing that I would cut part of the limbs off of the turtle or cut the head off of the turtle. I was like being really gentle and really slow. So you want to take your time. You don't want to rush, because you see right here the clay is like kind of coming with the cutter, and you don't want it to do that. So I was trying really hard for it not to do that. That's what you want. You wanted to have it pull away like that, not like have it stick, which it was trying to do. And sorry about my runny nose. I have allergies, and when you're in Michigan, when it's been like 70 degrees, I sound like I have a cold, but I probably don't. It's probably all sinus and allergies, so yay on that part. And here I am cutting around the head. I was worried about the thickness of the pendant after it came out of the mold, but once I cut it all out and started to examine it, it looked pretty good. And then as you see, right there when I start to cut around the flippers and the head, it doesn't look too bad on the thickness, so I was pretty happy with how it turned out. Actually, I'm still learning to remind myself to put my hands in front of the camera, so bear with me on that. This is only like my second video on crafting. I normally do the Sims, which I will be doing one soon. I'm just waiting for my desktop. I'm having it upgraded. Yay. I'm doing all this on my laptop right now. And yeah. But again, I had a hard time also cutting and trimming down the clay as well, with how, as I said, how fresh and new it was. It hadn't been sitting out for like a day where it like hardened a little bit. So that part, like I said, is hard when you're not used to doing a clay. But I've been doing clay for about 2 years now, and I still forget that when you buy it new, it'll always be very soft, depending on what kind of clay you buy. And normally I do Primo or Sculpey, and Sculpey and Primo are normally pretty soft when you open them. And here I am now getting out the blending tool, and I am rounding out the design in the turtle to make it even out more and basically more detailed. I think I added more detail on the feet and the arms of the turtle too, to make it all even out. And I try to add little designs on the head. No, they are not eyeballs, it is just design. I did not go into all that detail. You know it's a sea turtle without it even having eyeballs, so I did not add any eyeballs or a mouth or anything like that. I just went in, blended everything, smoothed everything out, and made sure it looked good. So that's what I am doing right now with the turtle. And I have a lot of fun with these. I wish I could make more molds. I think the package for the mold, the Amazing Mold Putty, I got it at Hobby Lobby. And you can make, I want to say over 100 pieces, I think, from what it shows on the back of the kit. Yeah, it shows the kit contains enough putty to make all the molds shown in the picture, which looks like about 100, depending on how well you use it. And I've been using mine for over a year now on making molds, and I've even bought some molds, and now that I know how to make them, I don't try to buy them unless I can't find what I'm looking for. And I do plan on making more of these to put on my Etsy account. So if you do want one, there will be some up later, I'm hoping this year, this summer. And they will probably be all different colors. I'm not going to make them all the same. And when I'm doing this one for my friend, her and I love Ninja Turtles, so I'm basing it on Leonardo with his green color from the Nickelodeon TV show, not the 2003 TV cartoon or the 80s cartoon. I'm basing it on the 2012 Nickelodeon cartoon with his color, and I add blue and to all the lines that are indented into the mold, into the clay, not really the mold, and you'll see that here in a few. I'm hoping I did all the different layouts of the video right. I'm not very articulate either, so I tend to, get a little nervous because I'm still learning how to do my YouTube channel because I had it set for 15 years and not do anything with it. And now I'm finally doing stuff with it. And I do hoping this turtle turns out well with the mold, with the blending and smoothing out all the rough edges. So I was trying to do that too. I think I ended up going back in and using the cutter on it to smooth out between the arms and the legs where it had that little opening there. That part was hard to mold and blend and cut out without extra clay coming off. And I want to say, okay, did I add the other indentions? I think I add the other ones later on the feet. And here I'm adding in the blue clay. It's not entirely actually real blue. I think it's more like a turquoise blue. And I was trying to match the exact color of Leo's bandana, basically. And this is how I did it. I just kind of molded it and rolled it into a snake. And made the snake really, really fine. And I did wash my hands in between this because my hands were literally turning green. So bear in mind when you're working with dark clay, like reds, blues, greens, your hands will change color. And you will want to wash your hands in between each segment of your clay. And you don't want to eat while you're working with clay. They pretty much tell you that. I think one of my friends told me that, who has worked with clay, not to eat while you're working with this type of clay. So that you do not want to do. And this is where I'm just kind of stretching out the blue clay. I made too much blue clay. And this is also one that was really fresh and new, and it was really hard not to have it break apart with the snake. So I was trying to be very gentle when I placed it into the turtle. And I think I over flattened it, but that's okay. Then you know it's not coming out. That's the only good thing. It won't come out. It'll stay right in there. And then I'm kind of blending it out a little bit, making it seem flatter and smoother. And probably repeating myself, and you want to make sure you get in all the spaces that were in the mold with blue clay. And you can add extra ones too, which is what I did too as well. And I didn't add any glitter or anything to this one. Leonardo does not need to be shiny. Well, he's shiny, but he had glaze, so that's completely different than glitter. And here I'm adding some blue on the legs. I add a little dot on there as well after I add in all the lines. And I'm kind of measuring the length of what I need. Some of them were a little long, so I folded them around the leg. Just so they would fit on there. I didn't cut it off, I just kind of wrapped it around a little bit. And you don't really need a whole lot of clay for this, and sometimes I end up overestimating how much clay for the little indentations, and you really don't need a whole lot. So bear that in mind when you do make ones like these to limit your clay, basically. And here I'm adding it on the arms and smoothing it out, making sure they all fit in the hole so they don't come out. And I think I'm getting ready to do the head now. And this, I think my hands were turning blue, literally blue. Still working on the other side, and then we just keep going. Basically, we keep working on it. And I did this during the day again. I think that by the end of the video, it was done at night. And you can tell literally the difference between the daytime and the nighttime, even with all my lights on in my room. It's really aggravating. I need better lighting. I need something. I need like a floor light, or I don't know. I know I need something more than what I have here. I mean, it is better than just looking at wood, because I normally have a wood coffee table. I should get a white one. But then it would look dirtier, so... I hate my nose. And now I'm adding it onto the feet. Blue! More blue! And smoothing it and making sure I have the right amount of blue. Cut that part out, but apparently I did not cut this part out. Like I said, I forget that I'm where the video is, and I have to remind myself to put it right in the frame. And here I'm getting ready to get the bail and bacon bond to put on the turtle before we bake it. What am I doing? I don't need all this space here. Okay, we got the bacon bond. I was going to use glue, and then I ended up using bacon bond. And the glue that I have, you cannot put in the oven. So I figured the bacon bond would be a lot better than you could put that in the oven. And it won't set a fire. And I'm kind of outlining around the veil so I know exactly where to put it. And I think I kind of round it out too. So it's not like literally sticking out from behind it. And this is where I'm kind of trying to fit it in before I add all the glue or the bacon bond. Bacon bond and not glue. Now we place it on the back. Make sure you have it right in the center. Unless you want it on the opposite end, but I put it on the head. But you can put it on the tail if you would like. For those that do end up making these. And here I'm just kind of cutting out around the detail of the head again to make sure it looks right. Making sure it looks like a turtle head and not an arm. And I placed the instructions for the baking time. For the bacon bond, it's said to put in for 30 minutes for when you're putting a veil on it or anything that you're gluing onto the clay. But if you're not gluing anything with bacon bond, then it's only for 15 minutes at 275 degrees. But you want to read your packaging on your clay, and you want to read the bottle of the bacon bond from where you're at in your country, so that way you have the right instructions on that, because each country has different temperatures and how long you gotta have it in there. And this is where I'm adding the glaze after the baking. And this gets really wet and it does get sticky, so you will want to clean up your area when you're done. And I didn't have a really good paintbrush because I had already used it on my previous item that I did a tutorial on, which I forgot to rinse out. I don't really know if water is a good solution of rinsing the brush out with the glaze or not. So I ended up having the brush sit overnight and it hardened. So you want to make sure that you do clean all your brushes or whatever you do use, or if you're just using a cheap dollar brush, then just go ahead and throw it out, because you don't want to reuse it later on, because it will harden overnight when you do not clean any of the glaze off of the brush. And I am just working my way around the turtle, trying not to get it on my hands, which is a little hard not to try to get it on your hands. And it was still a little hot after I got it out of the oven. It was warm. It wasn't really hot. It was warm. And so that was a little bit tricky too, because I took it off of the tray a little too early. But I wanted to make sure I covered this really well. And I think it took about an hour to set after I put all this glaze on to make it look really shiny and almost plastic-like is what I was going for. So the only part of this I did not put glaze on was the back. Because you're not going to really see the back of it other than if it flips over when you're wearing it. But I try to get in between the arms and the legs and the tail and the head and all around the turtle, basically. That shows on the front. And it does get messy and sticky as well. Kind of like glue, but not really like glue. And I am just making sure to cover all the areas. It kind of looks like milk when you put it on. Like if you put a lot on it, it reminds me of how thick milk is, which is really weird. But when it gets done, it doesn't even look like that at all. And again, it probably took about 45 minutes to an hour to set before I actually finished the whole entire video. So that's why I went from daytime to evening time on my lighting area. And I made sure not to get any on the veil, but hey, the veil can be shiny, okay? If it got on the veil will be shiny. And now I'm cleaning up my space and getting out my leather cord. My leather cord I got from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I get things from so many places. It's brown leather cord, basic cord. I feel like these are really good only because they don't rub on your skin and they don't cause an allergy, which is why I like it. And that is why I buy like a ton of this. Like it comes in 25 yards, which is like a lot of cord to use. So I'm trying to remind myself not to buy anymore until I use all this. I have brown and black cord, but when I did this one, I decided to go with the brown. And I could not find any brown end spiral things that go on the end of them. What are they called? I forgot to put the name on them. But they're like silver like spiral ends that you put on the necklace, and it's just, they're really difficult to get on. I had a hard time, like the very first one that I did, I could not get it to stay on for the life of me. And in this video, you probably see me having a difficult time keeping it in the frame of the video and trying to get it on the right way without it popping off or flying off. And they are really glue as well onto them, so that way they will not pop off after I put them on. And again, I don't really have a tool to, I think I do. I don't know what that is right now. But the tool I had helps crimp the, not really the bail, but the end spring on the leather cord. And it's just really difficult to get on with these pliers that I had. And I'm like, really, I get really frustrated when they don't go on right away. But I love them because once you get them on, they don't come off. So that's why I do recommend them. For those that want them, I got these at Hobby Lobby. That I do remember, because they're like one of the last things I bought for the project that I didn't have at the time. I'm sure I have some, but I don't know where they're at. But yeah, I did, like I said, I added glue, and I ended up cutting the cord in at like a little triangle on the end to make the spiral fit on there, because if you cut it at an angle, it's hard to get the cord into the spiral, which is what I learned the other day when I was working on this. And here's where I'm like adding the glue to make sure that it will stick and stay in there. And this is not stretchy cord. This is not stretching leather at all. It is not real leather, because if it was real leather, it would cost me more than $10 for 25 yards. But this leather is very soft. Like I said, I really like it, and I want to use more of it. And the first time I used them, I did the little knots in them and made a slip cord. But I feel like those don't stay very well when I make them. So this is why I did it the other way. And here I'm adding on more lighting because the sun's starting to go down too. And you can tell it's getting darker. And I'm trying to get the other side done while holding on to the other end with my finger and putting it on. I ended up shortening this clip too, because I think it took me another 20 actual minutes to get it all together and put on, because the spirals can be, like I said, a pain in the butt. I think I have one laying on the floor somewhere. And sometimes when they fling pretty good. And I ended up not moving the ring on the end, because you can adjust the ring on the end to put on your jump ring and your lobster claw, but I ended up just leaving that the way it was, and then I ended up adjusting the lobster claw and the jump ring to put on there instead of moving the round part, because sometimes if I move the round part, it won't go back to the way it was. And that's another thing I'm still learning with these spiral springs on the end. And if someone can tell me an easier way to put them on, that would be great, because I'm, like I said, I love them and I hate them. So and this is where I'm getting out the chain, and I wish I could find them in different colors to match the cord, like black ones, silver ones, white ones, but I can only find them in silver. I can't even find them in gold. You think I would be able to find them in gold, but I could not find them in gold. And this is where I'm kind of measuring out how long the chain should be on the end. I did not measure how long the cord was. I think I made it a little bit longer than 18 inches. So it's actually a pretty long cord, but I did add another cord in here in case that one was too long, because I didn't really know how long she wanted it, and I didn't measure. But bear in mind, if you do make a cord, you want to measure it. And I didn't have a ruler, so I could not measure anything in this video. So that was another thing I did not do, that I would recommend anybody that does crafts to measure their string I kind of measured it with how I would like it around my neck. So you can do it that way too, if you don't have a ruler. Sorry, I had to take a drink. My mouth is getting all dried out from talking. Like I said, I'm not used to narrating through the whole entire thing. I am getting better at it. And then this is the actual pendant that I got from my friend from the Renaissance Fair. And in fact, I think it's made out of actual wood, not from clay. And they did it a whole lot differently than I did this one. But that's the original one that I used to make the mold out of. And now I'm putting the string onto the necklace chain onto the pendant. And I'm showing you how it's all shiny and nice now. And no, the lobster clasp and the jump ring do not match the chain, unfortunately. And this is where it's all done. All nice and shiny. And we are finished. I hope you all have a lovely day. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.